Hi there. This is the first time I'm going on Substack live and on video. And so I'm just doing this to test whether or not or how this works. And today is July 1st. It is Canada Day in Canada. And this will be the first time also that I will be broadcasting live on Substack directly for the 69th episode of the Sparkle Experience Show. Hi, and I'm Michelle Holong, the real Sparkle Diva, as as Pam Heath, my dear friend, said, I should coin a title for myself. This morning I woke up and it was a different day. Has been raining here in Edmonton for a while. And I woke up thinking, oh, what am I going to wear? And what came to me were all these thoughts. And it was interesting because I was observing the thoughts as I was thinking them. And tonight, what I wanted to talk about was feeling into the flow. Because you see, when I was thinking about what to wear, I thought, well, what energy do I want to convey today on episode 69? What message do I want to communicate? How will people perceive me if I wear this or if I wear that? And is this too much out there? Is this too much? What kind of message am I going to be sharing today? And what might people think on Substack, actually? What are they curious about? What are they open to and ready to explore? And then I decided to wear this. This is a chiffon style. One of my garments with my intuitive art on there, and it is titled Curiosity. And I thought, well, that's a fitting energy to bring onto this episode of the podcast, because I feel that Substackers, there's a curiosity, there's a search, there's a quest for knowledge and different perspectives, and there's an interest in exploring. And because there's a lot of outliers out there, a lot of people are willing to look at something different and to challenge the status quo and to explore what's possible, and not just in front of you, but what's possible out there. And there's all discussions about how people connect and what people do in addition to what their profession or their work is, primarily in society. And this is this just felt right. And tonight's episode, so welcome to the Sparkle Experience Show. It's just about 3 minutes to the top of the hour, which is when I usually start the Sparkle Experience Show. And again, it's Michelle Holong here. This is a little bit of a more conversational topic. I'm calling it Feeling into the Flow, Curiosity, the Sparkle Source, and Reflections of a Newbie on Sparkle Source. Because my sense is that, we want to read widely, question deeply, and are interested in perspectives that are thoughtful, inspiring, unusual, practical, or simply different from the mainstream noise. I also wanted to do a little informing today. Over the decades, and time really has flown since I moved through my own skepticism about energy work, alternative approaches, and what I once would have dismissed as woo-woo. I have learned a lot over these years. A big turning point for me was came after a ski accident on Christmas Day in 2007, a long time ago when I think of it. And that experience pushed me into exploring things I would not have taken seriously before. I was skeptical, I questioned, resisted, and yet over time, I at that time, I opened up because I could not ignore um, the fact that I didn't want to have surgery. I didn't want arthroscopy on my right knee because I wanted to continue to play badminton. And someone I knew who coached at the Royal Glenora knew at least 9 or 10 people, he told me, Archie Lim told me, that who couldn't actually even walk properly, much less get on the court and play badminton. And that is, if you see those medals up there, that is my passion, especially when I was younger, to get out there and play on the court. Over the decades, over the years, I have worked with many people through Sparkle, Chi, and related recalibration quantum work that I played with. And what I've noticed again and again is that people are often amazed and sometimes in disbelief as to what they experienced. Not because I'm trying to convince them of anything, but because something shifted. They experienced something they never thought, many of them, that was possible ever. And something lightened. They got through a fog. They got through discomfort, etc. And, it's because of this that I, they found it difficult to explain what was happening. And many people, they just couldn't put it into words. So what happened was they just didn't share what their experience was with people, their family, their friends who might have needed a little bit of sparkle as well. So they may remember that they felt different. They may remember that they had more clarity, more ease, more energy, or a different relationship with themselves and others. But they don't know how to describe it. And unfortunately, then that means many people, who might have benefited from working with me, never really found out about what this is. And so they feel that this is just how it is. It is what it is. And there's a lot of people out there who are just succumbing to what they feel is how things play out in their lives. Whereas if there was a possibility of introducing or doing something that could change where you are, would it be worthwhile to try it? And this is exactly why, after much encouragement and really loving persistence from my dear friend and client, Pam Heath, the Yes Coach, who I worked with for 3 years, I think it was almost weekly for the most part. She kept encouraging me to speak out and tell people about Sparkle. She said, there's nobody else in the world who does Sparkle or who can do what I do the way I do it. Because, she could see energy. She had a gift of seeing people's auras from when she was young, a little girl. And she said she didn't think much of it. She didn't try to analyze it. She just could see. And she said at 65 years old, when I met her on a Zoom call with a group of people who we used to meet with regularly, and I shared a pro bono Sparkle session with all of them on the Zoom call. And she says, I see you, you're the one. And shortly after that, within a week or two, she was one of my VIP clients. But then, unfortunately, shortly after a few months of working with me as my client, she was diagnosed with stage 3 pancreatic cancer. And she was declared cancer-free in December 2024. And then she was told she had stage 4 in early in 2025. But through all of that, she kept on saying, Michelle, you need to tell people about Sparkle. You need to get out there. And because of her, I started the Sparkle Experience show, because on here, that was my intent, to have people who I sparkled, who are willing to share their Sparkle experience, to come on and share with people what they did, what their experience was. And also because these were very beautiful people who had their own wish to help make our world a better place. And that was how the Sparkle Experience show started. And, her words stayed with me. She told me that she wanted people to know that there may be more available, more options available to them than they were allowing themselves to see. And, once she started to feel better in the latter part of 2024, she became my editor of my newsletter, which I started shortly after the Sparkle Experience Show podcast. And again, she said that her mission was to help more people find me, because she felt people needed Sparkle. And so that's a story behind Sparkle Source and why I was putting myself out there at first, very softly, not telling people what Sparkle Chi was, that I did energy work. And so this is what I'm here to share, is not just the energy part, the Sparkle Chi part, but also the wisdom, the nuggets of wisdom behind that. Because you see, why should you listen to me? I know that's probably what's going through your mind right now. Why listen to me at all? And you see, this is one of the reasons is I've been in corporate 3 decades, 2 decades in the oil and gas. And prior to that, I worked for Hewlett-Packard, where I found my passion for quality, continuous improvement, total quality control, making things simpler, getting the complexity out of process. Because you see, another one of my gifts is the ability to see the big picture, to simplify the complex, and to make it fun. And so after Hewlett Packard, I decided I wanted to get into ISO 9001, because I wanted to be a quality manager. And I wasn't an engineer, and I didn't have manufacturing experience. I did have Hewlett Packard experience, but not on floor experience in a manufacturing environment. But I landed a job as a quality manager in a manufacturing company that did very technical work, had 2 plants, and I got them certified in 13 months, ISO 9002 certified, because they didn't want to include design. So it made it 9002 and not 9001. And I did it in 13 months, not having ISO previous experience or manufacturing experience or quality management experience, but I got them certified with basically no reports, because I was a one lady shop. And I'm here to tell you that what you put your mind to is you can achieve. And a big part of that is how you engage your heart, and as well as other people's hearts in what you're doing. And that we are multidimensional. And I've seen those posts. And if you look on Substack, if you're on Substack, you'll see the likes and my comments and posts, and you'll get the gist of the posts that I am commenting on. And there's people, I think Linnea was one of them, who talked about the fact that we're multidimensional. There are multiple facets of me. You can see I do art. Yes, this is my design, my styling, or my paintings on garments that are available online at La Galerista. You can see the garment, the links there. We are multidimensional. I'm an author. I'm a poet. I do coaching. I do training facilitation. I do ISO auditing. I do a lot of things, but bottom line, it's all to help you do better, feel better, and be better. And so I know I'm covering a lot of things here, the big part of why Sparkle Source is now finding its new home on Substack is because everything I do leads to Sparkle, to you becoming the best CEO of you that's possible. And perhaps your challenges, we all have different challenges. I have, life brings us challenges in different shapes and forms. Health challenges, relationship challenges, work challenges, uh, overwhelm, where there's so many priorities in different areas of our lives that somehow we have to keep it all straight and balanced and come back to center and have that sense of where to go and how to tackle different things and yet still feel good about what's happening and find the happy within. And I've spoken about that in my book, Sparkle and Shine. I talk about happy coming from within. Happy resides within. External circumstances could be the most dire, but you could still feel happy because you can control your happy state from within. And that's what, if we talk about status quo and the paradigms out there, and I used to call myself a rebel, but I'd like to say I think of myself more as a person who looks at what is accepted as status quo, and I bring in bring in different perspectives so you can actually make a choice for yourself. Which of these perspectives can serve me in the best way so that I can stay the course and go. And if you see one of my last podcast, it's about swimming above, so the interference is below and you're swimming above the interference versus swimming through it and struggling to make it through the oncoming waves. If that, sometimes life feels like that. And my favorite boy band, BTS, they have a song that talks about swimming, keep on swimming forward through life and getting through it and finding the joy that there is in life. And what it takes is to uplift yourself. So tonight, I wanted to talk about the origins of Sparkle and Sparkle Source and the newsletter and the podcast, and why it is now, why did that I want to move to the Substack as home. And I've been on Substack. This is what I was reflecting on recently. I'm very new to Substack. I'm not that new. I'm weeks into Substack now, but I've had to figure out, where are the notes and why am I not seeing this here? And where is this? And how come this isn't showing up there? And how do I get my web page, if you will, on Substack? How do I get it organized and looking good? And why am I not seeing those sections on Substack on the web page as such? And if you're seasoned Substack people, you know what I'm talking about. And then it's all becoming clear. And if you've been on Substack and looked and wondered what I'm doing, thank you for your patience, because it is messy starting out. But with everything, it's just about going forward. And, there's a lot of you are much younger than me. My kids I'm an empty nester. My kids have left home. They're professionals. And I look at technology and I figure it out and I work through it. And it's all fun. It depends on how you frame things. So why listen to me? I hope you're getting an idea. And if it's resonating with you, I encourage you to subscribe. There's a free layer, and I haven't got a lot of stuff on there, but there are links to previous podcasts on YouTube, which you can get to. And I will start to populate the previous newsletter, Sparkle Source issues on Substack as well. I'll bring them on, but you can go on and check out the previous podcast episodes, and I will be putting more on Substack. I have, I would like Sparkle Source to show you the intersection of both worlds, the practical and the intuitive, the strategic and the soulful, the seen and the unseen, because there is unseen around us, the process map and the sparkle field. And so my invitation tonight is simple. Let your curiosity get sparkled. You do not have to believe everything. Some of the greatest, the nicest results come from people who are skeptical. And I was a skeptic, very big skeptic, as I indicated earlier on tonight. You do not have to force anything. You do not have to figure anything out. Just be, just listen, just see what resonates, what connects. If something here resonates with you, maybe it's just a feeling that you're not sure what it is, then just flow with it. What if clarity doesn't always come from thinking harder? What if your body is giving you signals before your mind actually tells you what you need to do or what you should do or what you could do? What if some of what keeps us stuck is not from failure, but from interference, from the chatter, what I like to call gremlins? In my book, I talk about that. What about the gremlins? The chatter that just sometimes it's incessant. It used to be for me just, I didn't even know I was thinking because I had so many thoughts in my mind. And my mother would say, Michelle, your thoughts are not you. And I'd say, Mom, I'm not thinking. But when I actually did learn what quiet and silence between the two ears was, then I realized that what my mother was saying was true. I had thoughts. I didn't even realize I had thoughts because I was so used to this noise. And what I call, a lot of it is interference in my head. I didn't even realize that wasn't how it was supposed to be. Because you see, the creativity and the innovation and the brilliance, your brilliance comes out when there's nothing there. There's quiet, and it gives your higher knowing the space and the quiet in that it can then come into your consciousness, where all of a sudden you realize, wow, that's a good thought. And what if process, energy, story, movement, art, inner guidance is all interconnected, more interconnected than we were thought to believe or to actually even fathom? Because this is a kind of exploration that Sparkle Source is here to convey and to introduce and to actually, what's that word I'm looking for? To initiate. It's all about interconnectedness. When there's movement, then it uplifts energy. When your energy is uplifted, you get into a more creative space. When more creativity and innovative thoughts enter your mind, your brain, then these ideas for your work, your business, your projects, they will all of a sudden come into play. And then it gets you into this whole state of feeling good and productive and all that. And maybe that's very foreign to you right now because you're in a state of overwhelm, or where your cup is overflowing and you have no idea which way is up. Well, Sparkle can help that too. This is a kind of exploration that Sparkle Source, as I said, is all about, and Sparkle Chi can help with. And the shares and the coaching and the discussions and chats that are possible on Sparkle Source, or on the when you come into my space. And I'm not here to convince you. I'm not here to diagnose. I'm not here to fix. I want to very clearly say that this is not a place of medical diagnosis or therapy. That is not my intention here. the things I want to do, because you're all new here, and even if you're a subscriber to my newsletter from MailChimp, you may not have actually experienced Sparkle. So just because this is new, and I know there is, that skepticism, and there is that inquisitiveness as to what is this all about. I will be, just a heads up, I will be from time to time, if the feeling moves me, I will jump onto Substack and do impromptu Sparkle pop-ups, where it could be we talk about, have chats on whatever you would like to, topics that you'd like some inputs on, or shares that I have to, thoughts I want to share or discuss, or it could be an impromptu Sparkle segment. And also it could be, what I'm thinking of as well is an upcoming series, just because I mentioned that people don't know how to describe or express what Sparkle is. What I thought I would do is invite some of my past clients onto the show, and this will be my What Comes After Sparkle series on the Sparkle Experience show. And this is where I will invite guests on, and they will share about what their Sparkle experience was, and then they will actually talk about what became possible after Sparkle. So if that resonates and you're interested in hearing about that, stay tuned, because those will be some of the episodes coming up in the next little while on the Sparkle Experience show. So I hope that this has been of some interest to you. And again, if you'd like to stay connected, do subscribe to the Sparkle source and the show. And I hope to see you live, perhaps one of these times that I'm on. Have yourself a really great rest of, if you're in Canada Day, and a great rest of evening. Bye for now. It's Michelle Holang signing off.